I should unmute myself. I should unmute myself a little bit.
Oh my god. Can you hear me, or is there just a bunch of noise coming through right now?
No, I can hear you, and so can stream. We switched over. We just switched over like 2 seconds ago. And I have one floating water bottle because I adjusted.
So everyone welcome Salem to the stream. Be nice to them.
Just floating in the ether.
Yeah, floating in the. Wait, no, I gotta give you a label. Hold on, Salem.
Oh no.
You also get Salem. And
hi, Asuka. We're doing well.
No. If I put
hello. Jesus, world. We just started.
We're just big name. Big name we put in.
TTS, thank you, Earl.
Thank you, Earl.
Violet said it's their first time here, so hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. As I have referenced a couple times, we're doing a little something out of the ordinary. We're having a guest on. Well, I guess the guest part isn't out of the ordinary. I have a lot of guests on. But we're not going to be doing a game. We're going to be your podcast tonight. There's going to be no voice requests. I've turned off all of the redeems that aren't going to be on for the stream, so you won't have to worry about accidentally wasting any points or whatnot. But we did leave the gambling on. I know what my chat wants, and it's gambling. So the gambling is on. The gambling will remain.
The person who just called me salami. I'm so sorry. I got so distracted when I saw that.
My best friend, Salami.
Hello, it is me, your local best friend, Salami.
My local best friend, Salami. You know what? We're just gonna have an ominous floating water bottle for my drink redeem. I really gotta know if that goes away or not. I don't know. It's been there for a while. I'm scared now. Hold on. There we go.
It's your curse.
I can hear my wife curse screaming from the bedroom. Okay, but let me do a proper introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Darsuki. Hold on. I immediately forgot all my words. We're doing a special stream tonight where we're going to be your little podcast tonight. We're just going to be sitting here and talking. I am here with a very, very good friend of mine, Salem, who's actually have been my friend of 20 years. Maybe slightly, no, 20 years. My friend of 20 years.
Yeah, I think we met when, I was just saying, I think we actually met when we were like 11. So yeah.
Yeah.
20 years. Yeah.
Middle school. We've known each other since middle school, so.
Yeesh.
So if anybody knows me, Salem knows me.
Also, I realize our hair is going the same way.
Hey, look, it's just such a cool style. It's just such a nice style. But oh goodness. Hold on. I'm gonna remember.
Oldest friend, or not oldest friend, but
oh god, I'm already bald.
Friend, 20 years. Oh no.
They decided to take that. You mentioned the hair, and then they're like, nope, we're going to take that away. It's okay. We're not matching anymore.
It's okay. Let me pull out my sketchbook and I'll draw myself bald.
Yeah, no, Salem is, Salem drew, oh, well, actually, I'll let you do your intro. And then the posture check immediately. It's okay. I'm postured. Okay, but this is going to be a stream where we're going to talk. We're not going to do anything overly chaotic. We're not doing any game or whatnot, but this is going to be an opportunity for us, as the title of the stream says, and the detail that I put in my Tumblr post to remind, we're going to be talking about dark media in fiction, specifically in writing, with each of us having our own inputs about that from our respective subculture. For example, I have a background of heavy fandom subculture, while Salem has a very large background in traditional literature publishing. We're going to be talking about dark media, dark content, some sensitive topics. We're going to be kind of touching on like mental health. We will be discussing like I'm gonna have to move that alert. We are going to be discussing like when I say dark content, I mean like blood, gore, murder, cannibalism,
Yeah, pretty much anything. If it could be in a horror like novel or anything like that,
horror.
or
Yeah,
like
there
a
we go.
horror in like a horror movie, anything like that is fair game. So just content warning on that.
Yeah. So just content warning on that. Please remember to take care of yourself. If anything in this stream gets to be too much, it's very yes, dead dove do not eat, but it is important
Yes.
that we clarify dead dove do not eat is just emphasizing we're being very serious. And we are.
Mhm.
So think horror genre and whatnot. If something bothers you in any way, there is nothing wrong with taking a step back. Take a step back, pause the stream, take 5-10 minutes for yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong if we touch on a subject that there may be triggering subjects. I cannot account for everybody's trigger. So if you feel that
Mhm.
something is becoming uncomfortable, please protect yourself. Pause the stream, step away. If you need to leave the stream, if you cannot watch through on that, that is okay. That is okay. There is nothing wrong with, being able to understand, okay, this has gone past my
So you
personal
should give a
threshold.
detailed TW
Yeah.
so we can pin it.
And very, very much I hold to that too. I've said before that my personal like triggers are so few and far between that I'm totally okay if I start talking about something and people are like, and I need to check out of that conversation. So no shame, nothing like that. If you need to step away for your own like health and well-being, your health and well-being comes first. So I think that that's kind of the beginning and end of that.
I feel like I'm going to typo at least a couple of these. Hold on. I'm trying to hit the big ones on this. I'm going to say, I'm going to blanket check topics of gore, death, existentialism, rape, incest. What are some other big topics that are brought up in
Cannibalism, abuse, those are a lot of the big ones.
Okay, I'm
I
typing.
think you hit on a lot of the big ones,
Okay.
but
Unfortunately, we are not scripted, and mods, I am going to post this so you are good to pin this or
TTS, send it in Discord,
Okay.
and it'll reword it in a way Twitch will prefer.
I don't know if you saw the
Oh.
thing from Queenie.
Yeah, no, it comes in a second after for me, but yes, no, perfect. I'm gonna send it to you over here. Format that however is appropriate for Twitch, so that it can be properly pinned on there. Perfect, because it is unscripted. So it is unscripted, so we can't really account for exactly when something will come up. It is going to be an organic conversation. You are going to get a great example of conversations that me and Salem have almost weekly. We visit each other once a week. And
I feel like we do have this conversation almost weekly.
We do. It's always good to sit down and have a nice philosophical conversation, and just to talk about really open subjects, vulnerable subjects. Maybe another one, drug abuse. Queenie.
Oh, yep.
I might add that. Yeah, drug abuse, drugs and drug abuse might be a big one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So with that, while they are getting that pinned, and with that kind of out of the way, and the other basic stuff that I can think of, so I remember each time, if you're a new viewer, welcome to my stream. This is a little different than usual, but keep in mind the rules down below, though we've pretty much covered a lot of stuff so far. I did turn on I did turn on one specific redeem that I don't normally have on to highlight your message. We will be happy to like take commentary and questions as we discuss. We may not get to everybody if a bunch of people suddenly start spamming that, but we will do our best. We want to have a conversation. And also, yeah, Whirl, you're
Yeah.
good. I'd be more than happy to add emotes from you on there. I'd love that. But we're having an organic conversation. That's really what's happening tonight. So
Yeah.
Salem, now that that's kind of out of the way, do you want to introduce yourself and give some information and your background maybe for this?
Yeah. So hi, my name is Salem. I used to stream a while ago, and have not streamed in a few years because life has been chaotic. But I am a writer. I've published a handful of things under pseudonyms, so it's nothing that you'd be able to really find. I have published short stories, a couple of short story collections, and a handful of poetry. And I'm currently writing, gosh, how many novels? I'm currently writing multiple novels.
Some really
I'll
good
just say
ones.
multiple.
But believe me, I'm going to put a pin in because I really want you to bring up your cannibal lesbian. Oh, I love your cannibal lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that out there for chat to gnaw on for a bit. Also, I'm gonna do a weird thing. I'm gonna go turn down my television because I just realized there's like a cat entertainment video. Oh yeah, also talk about your complete lack of pronouns
Oh yeah.
or any pronouns.
I use any pronouns. It's a running joke with Suki and I, that my pronouns are wizard, or my gender and pronouns are wizard, because there's a picture. If you look online, there's a picture of this wizard, and he's just pointing in a direction, and the caption just says, "I don't know. I don't fucking know." So yeah, any pronouns that you want to use for me are perfectly fine. Traditional, non-traditional, neo, totally good. Most people default to she, her, they, them for me. Again, go nuts.
I
Surprise
do my
me.
best to try and spice it up every now and again.
Surprise me. Give me something interesting. Also, I did see that someone asked if self-harm was going to be mentioned. I don't know, but it is a possibility. Just assume that if it's a touchy subject, it might be brought up. And I don't know that there is a way that we can warn going into it, because a lot of this just happens super organically. So just kind of assume coming in that there's a sign on the door that says anything goes, be to yourself.
Yeah, I would say it might be, but that's not
TTS come.
Oh my God. I would say it might be, but it wasn't one of the first topics that we thought to warn about. Like the ones that the ones that we put, that the first ones we thought of are probably the ones that will be the most heavily talked about. Self-harm might come up, but we will we'll kind of walk around that and adjust as needed for the trigger warnings and whatnot. But yes, no, again, if we're not going to be, I don't want to say we're not going to talk about this in such a graphical way that is, we're not trying to trigger anybody. That's not the point. We want to talk about these topics organically to actually
TTS Piker, thank you for the phone gifts last night.
Yeah. No, and I'm seeing the chat blowing up right now. But I'm gonna just real quick here. To the person, Sun Binary, that says salami bonita. Yes, correct. Hello, Kiri, and I don't know why we're stick bugging, but congratulations to all of the stick bugs in the chat.
Stick bugs, I think. Yeah, you're good.
No, but I was just gonna say I don't think we need to beat to death that there are gonna be sensitive subjects. I think just kind of the blanket of, I don't know what's going to be coming up. So if we kind of start straying into topics that are going to be uncomfortable for you, it is okay to, take a step away and come back later, or, just take a step away for the night.
Yeah.
Again, this is unscripted. We don't know what we're going to talk about, but.
Yeah, no. So, but yeah, the goal is like having the goal is like talking about it. We're not what's the word? What's the bitch? Hold on. We're not glorifying it. We're not doing like a newscast of look how horrible this is. Oh my god.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We're just
No.
especially because these are probably topics that we can personally relate to, or
Mm-hmm.
depending on the topic we may have personally been through or endured ourselves. So the goal is to educate, to take dark topics that are often hard to discuss and just be vulnerable about them. Just have a nice
Yeah.
conversation on an equal level with two peers who know each other very well and know our own boundaries very well and understand, what we're comfortable with. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Is there
But
anything else that you need to go over before we just jump in here?
not that I can think of. I think that pretty much covers it. Otherwise,
TTS now for our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
no, not for our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Um, but Shadow brings up a good point. Yeah, if you aren't comfortable, take a step back. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, world's shortest intro. Because there's genuinely nothing else that I can think of, and I don't have to manage anything else. I just have my dual screen set up here.
Please feel free
Did
to
you
use
know
our
I'm also the
reels
person
on
that
Dark
if I feel like we're
Side
talking too long
advice
about
you can legally
something,
fuck
I'll be like,
anybody's
and I don't
wife.
think we need to talk about that anymore. On to the next thing. So, also, best of luck, Twilight artist. They just said they're going to be going into surgery. So many, many positive thoughts and vibes towards Twilight artist.
Yeah.
So just
Let
sending
me
that
try
along.
that again, but please feel free to use our real sponsor code
Yeah,
Dark
so
I need you.
Advanced.
I need you to
What?
know. I need you to know that there were like two TT world.
Jesus, Whirl.
We're
We
gonna
just
TTS,
started.
thank you, Whirl.
we're gonna okay, hold on. We're gonna put these alerts in front of us. That's what's fuck. My alerts are gone. God damn, I'm gonna have to wait for another one popping up. It's okay, I'll catch it next time.
Also, if you put them too far in front of us, your captions are just gonna cover it up.
Oh, you're right. In that case,
Put
I'll put it.
put it to my right, so the left of the screen, that by the gotcha cam.
Yeah,
box.
nobody's gambling yet. Nobody's gambling right now, though I will say I've left that on. That is on. I will be updating the gambling at some point. I have to double check if I add more dolls, if it's going to reset them. I really don't want anybody to lose what they've collected, but I am looking into adding more. I've kind of finagled. Okay, there we go. It went off again. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can see it.
And Asuka, yes, you can ask specific questions that are suited for the topic tonight. In fact, I encourage it.
Yeah, no, I've turned on an ability to highlight your message. So again, if people start going absolutely crazy with them, we'll do our best to get to each. But that is there for a reason, so it's a little bit easier for us to see if you're asking a question. Questions are welcome. This is a very interactive stream tonight. I mean, most of my streams are pretty interactive, but this is meant to be an interactive stream.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, we
Heck
good.
yeah, in under half an hour. In fact, in under 25 minutes. I'm so proud of you, buddy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Finally. You just have to completely remove every stimulation.
Let's talk about your comms.
Kat wants you to talk about your comms real quick.
Oh, what about them other than that they're open? I'm getting to them slowly.
Yeah, I was going to say probably just mention that they're open, you're getting to them.
Oh yeah, no, I'm open. They're open. And I'm getting to them. If you're interested, I do have a bit of a wait list. If you're on the wait list, I will eventually get to your commission. I'm just going through them slowly because I have full-time job. And the last couple days, because of the Freak Circus anniversary event, I was helping with that after work, so I did not get a chance to make any headway.
Yes.
But
Also,
uh,
congratulations to all you little freak circus freaks. I love you
yeah.
all, even though I am not a part of this.
Yeah, no, Salem is like tangentially familiar with the Freak Circus. Like again, best friend of 20 years. Like I always like have talked to Salem whenever I'm like I need some feedback, I need some ideas, I need some creative help. I need a um uh it's okay, Kiri Cat, you go to bed. It's 1 a.m. You get some sleep. You treat yourself right. Don't worry, the
Yeah,
VOD will
get
be
some decent
here.
sleep.
This will also be uploaded to my
Also,
secondary.
no voice requests tonight. Save your money and your points. Also, Suki, please show one of
Your
Salem's
secondary
cool
YouTube
calligraphy
Hold
channel?
on.
things.
No, you're good. It was a TTS. I was letting it go off.
Oh,
I think I might
I
actually
can't hear them, so
yeah,
sorry.
no, just to make that easier, I'm probably going to mute Mix It Up for that, just so I can still hear it and I can talk over it as it goes off, but it won't necessarily disrupt anything. So perfect. I feel like I have to do that whenever I have a guest. It works the best. Um yeah, no, Salem does some really cool calligraphy stuff. We can show that off when we get probably because I can get the link and whatnot for that. Um because I do have one that Salem made for us, the I'm so dry little calligraphy card. But I'll get some links and pictures on that probably during a break so I can actually get the pictures from their Tumblr. Uh hold on. I'm thinking. I was on a topic and then I stopped.
Um,
Oh yeah, no, the Freak Circus. You know, tangentially Freak Circus, especially when
yeah.
I was water bottle,
I love you, buddy, so much.
water bottle, ominously floating water bottle. Because I am not going to mess with that because it's on a separate program than the table is right now. So I am not. I am not
Uh,
messing with. It's just going to be an ominously floating water bottle, which is par for the course with your aesthetic.
it is very par of the course. And for Asuka and for anybody that else might want to follow me, yes, you can follow me on Tumblr. I'm slowly reviving my streamer Tumblr, so it's just going to be SalemsStudy, same as what the @ is on the stream itself.
I got you, buddy.
Um,
I got you.
but,
I'm doing it right now.
but yes, you can follow me. I apologize that there's not a whole ton there right now. But yes, no, congratulations to Freak Circus fandom. I love you guys from a distance. I love that you all have been so incredibly nice to my best friend, and I do see the fan art that you guys make of him. FYI, I am watching you.
It's also
so,
just been
so
we've had such interesting conversations about the topics of like yandere, stalking, obsession, of love based with
yes.
obsession, like romance through gore and cannibalism and stuff like that. So it has spawned a lot of very intriguing conversations, and it's always fun to be able to find common ground with someone on like a philosophical level, even when it's like I have no idea the book series you're talking about, you have no idea the game series I'm talking about, but we can still talk about these subjects in such a fun way and we come out of it better people.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting just to kind of like jump into it here. Because like I do think one of the carryovers with like Yandere and stuff that like because I'm not a huge gamer. I don't play Yandere games. I don't play a lot of video games. The only video game that has like completely consumed my life right now is the demo for Warhammer Survivors because that came out. um, but but the thing that like with Yandere games and stuff that I really understand is like I'm really fascinated with this idea that comes up a lot in specifically like gothic horror and that sort of thing with an obsessive love, a love that so crosses the boundary of like what is acceptable and what might just be like, oh, a little bit possessive or a little bit jealous into something that is like actively detrimental and what the extent of that would be. So I'm super fascinated by that. And I love when that's explored in like a horror capacity. So that's something that I appreciate from y'all's fandom, even if I'm not a part of it.
Yeah. Also, wait, Warhammer new game?
Yeah, so it's by the same people that made Vampire Survivors. They got the
Oh, okay.
license to do Warhammer Survivors, and the demo is out right now. So I've been playing that, and that's a lot of fun.
Seems like fun.
It is fun. They have a world for regular 40K and Sigmar right now. So, and I specifically got the demo because I found out that in that game they were going to have my boy Yarick when it comes out in full release. So,
I will say, if anybody's a Warhammer fan that likes the Orc faction and Yarg, Salem loves them. Salem loves them.
I love my boy Yarick, Gazgul and Yarick.
Which I will say, that is actually a really good example of like Warhammer, like grimdark and like grimdark fiction and finding. Oh, I will say there is no script. We're just gonna start talking. So Godspeed to you all. But Warhammer is a very good kind of foray into. I feel like grimdark or dark fiction, and like for me, it's a great example of this is absolutely depressing. This is absolutely dark,
Yeah.
and yet it's cathartic for me because it is fiction and I have control over it.
And that's one thing that like I was talking to somebody at one point, and I forget what specifically we were talking about, but they had brought up the fact that they were like, I just don't understand how anybody could watch whatever the horror franchise was. And they're like, it's so fucked up. And I was like, well, part of it is that it's catharsis. And I think that's a big draw of horror in general, is that you can experience really traumatic things, but it's in a controlled way. So you get to experience the catharsis of that and walk away from it having processed maybe some of those negative emotions, and also hype train. Damn. It's been 30 minutes, y'all. Calm down.
It's okay. You gotta get used to it. Thank you, Earl.
Thank you, Whirl. No, but like you get to experience these really like negative things in a way that is safe, and that has a degree of separation, you know. Let's see, Asuka asks, is there a certain amount of obsession that can get too much for your liking? What is the grade that you accept and still enjoy, and what draws the line for you? So if we're talking me specifically, I have not found that line. And maybe this is just because of the type of fiction that I consume. But a lot of this, if you're talking about like general audiences, a lot of this is very much preference per individual. There are some people who are going to be like, oh, this one thing went too far. This one thing didn't go far enough. One of the books that I bring up a lot is like, I say it's one of the best books I've ever read that I can never recommend to anyone.
Yes.
And it's Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. And it is literally about two serial killers that fall in love. And they are extremely obsessed with each other. And the way they find each other is one of them chooses the other one as a victim and tries to kill them. And it like becomes a relationship because they find out about each other. And in that, there's a lot of like very warped, very demented, obsessed love. When it comes to like lines to draw, in horror specifically, I feel like it's kind of the idea of anything is permissible if it's done well enough.
I will also say it's very interesting because and I have my fingers crossed because there was a question earlier up that I am holding on to because I think it's a good one. But I think it's also interesting to clarify that Salem doesn't. You don't go for romance. You are. You're not aromantic or anything like that. But well, you decide your own labels. Salem is just like a shrug sometimes. Correct me if you would like to
Big
detail it
shrug.
different. But I will say, for example, I seek out romance and erotica. I go for shipping. I go for the romantic aspects of stories and the erotic or sex and romance. That's what I get out of stories. However, Salem does not. So romance is not the thing they go for. But if it's there, so their threshold for obsession, that might be playing into that, or I feel like that might be a worthwhile piece of context.
Yeah, correct. No, I'm not one of those people who like seeks out the romance. So the thing with a lot of especially like more modern horror is that there's romance thrown in there whether it makes sense for it to be there or not. So I consume a lot of content that has romance in it, but I'm not there for the romance. I'm there for the
Like, if
ookie
it's done
spookies,
well,
the
then
blood, the
awesome,
gore, and
but
all of the other stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, if it's done well, then yes. And like I was saying, with the Exquisite Corpse, because somebody asked what the title was. Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. The idea of it being a the appeal of the romance is that it's two serial killers and one of them is a cannibal, and like that is an aspect of their relationship. It's like, oh, this is fascinating from like a psychological level, in less of a like romantic level, because there is nothing in that book, and I think maybe this is where I find my interest if I am consuming something that is like romantic with obsession, is that when I'm reading something where it's like, oh, there's nothing about this that is like, oh, sweet, that like gives you the warm fuzzies about it. It's all the, oh, that's super fucked up and very interesting. Yes, Queenie saying terrible people doing terrible things for fascinating reasons. Voyeurism of the abhorrent. That's a perfect way of explaining it.
Yeah. I would say for me, if I move in the same question of like what the threshold is like too much, it's very interesting because I'll go at it from a different perspective where, of course, I look for romance and erotica, and I primarily indulge in dark fiction to explore and indulge in things that are either you cannot safely get in real space. Little Snowflake is dubbing you uncle slash auntie slash secret third thing salami.
Absolutely.
You are now being dubbed salami.
I am here for this. I love it. 100% do it up.
Salami.
It is
But
me. It is me, Uncle Salami.
Uncle Salami. But for
Next time I go to visit my actual nieces and nephews, I just kick in the door and just be like, it is me, your Uncle Salami.
you know what? Just for that cursed TTS, I will, for my wife, turn TTS so it's listenable again for my chat.
Oh no.
I'm sorry,
What is
but
the TTS? Oh
Mommy
no,
Salem. I'm
no,
sorry.
Cat. Stop it.
But
TTS Mummy Salem spanked me.
oh, I immediately regret doing that. But for
No,
my
absolutely not.
for my threshold, I think when I consume dark fiction, and this is interesting because I have grown a lot of my boundaries and thresholds a lot just within the last 5 to 10 years. For me, I think my threshold is I think I adore stalking. I adore obsession. I adore yandere content. I adore when a character is absolutely obsessed with the main character or the reader or the listener or the focal point character, because reader inserts MCs and whatnot. That's where I really come from and what I've written. That's my background as a fandom writer. I love that so much. I think when it becomes too much, or like this is out of my ballpark. It's valid, but out of my ballpark, is when let's just say when the character, there is a very interesting line that can be crossed, and it's very nuanced, and sometimes it's hard to kind of describe when I'm trying to describe it to someone. But when I'm going to say MC. I'm just going to say MC for ease of it. When the MC is being hurt or tortured physically or mentally in a way that they are being treated like an object. So when the obsession has gone beyond you are a person who I need and want, and I'm going to have you in my life. I'm going to kidnap you and put you in my basement. I'm going to keep you fed and healthy and all that. That's fine. I love that. Stockholm syndrome me every fucking day, bro. Put me in your basement to make me love you. But it's when they go beyond you are now an object, and if I can't have you, no one can. You're an object, and if I can't have you, I'm gonna break you so you can't leave. That for me is when it becomes, it's still yandere. That's like, that's just one variant of it. I used to call it very interesting. I used to call it like, I don't know what I used to call it, because I wrote yanderes in this way where they're kind of like Piero. I'll use him as a really good example. Now, I will admit, the game is done. The game is done. He's a fully fleshed character. There's a lot stuff to learn there. I'm solely going at it as a fan from what we all know. But if could be a good example where he is obsessed with the MC, but he genuinely sees them as a person. He acknowledges that they have autonomy. He acknowledges that they have preferences. He acknowledges that they're scared. And it makes sense you're scared. For example, Piero, even when he is starting to kind of like lose his control and he's like, I'm getting a little unhinged now, he still acknowledges, oh, you must be so scared. And he apologizes for that. He's still obsessed. He's still gonna fucking probably kidnap them. He still drugs them with a cake. He still fucking drugs them. He is still not, he is compared to Harlequin just as much of a fucking yandere, but he is aware. And I think for me, that's really when I like it. I think the fact that he is able to acknowledge personhood, when that character is able to acknowledge autonomy, and they can still be disgusting. They can still be horrible. They can still be murderous bastards. But just the awareness of my actions are scaring you and you are reacting because of that. And I cannot get mad at you, or I'm not going to be mad at you because you're scared. I'm still going to fucking handcuff you to the bed, but I'm going to be gentle because you're scared. And I'm going to try and like, I'm going to be like, you're a scared feral cat. I'm still going to get you, but I'm going to acknowledge you're scared and try to work around that. It's when they go, oh, you tried to run away. I'm going to break your legs. No, it's when oh, you tried to run away. I'm so sorry. It must have been something I did. Here, honey, let's put you back in the room. I'm going to lock it extra tight so you can't get out and get yourself hurt again. And this time, I'm going to bring you some extra special food so you don't want to leave. Like, it's almost more fucked up in a way. I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah,
but that's my threshold.
No, that makes sense, because it's like, when it comes to like the objectification of the target or the love interest, it's the line. It's like the comparison of like the trophy collector versus the hoarder, because the trophy collector is going to like make a display. They're going to polish up their trophies. They're going to make sure that they all like are on display for everyone to see, that they're clean, that they're well kept, that they're not going to get tarnished, but they're still just objects on a wall. Whereas the hoarder, it's the having, and no, I can't let go of you, and no, you're not going to leave. So I think I definitely can track with that of like it depends on what you like and what you go for, but I do think that you're definitely more of somebody that likes the like trophy collector versus the hoarder when it comes to like
Yeah, which is
the psychology of it.
which is so interesting. I will cut in just with that because if we're going if we are being like open on this, it's very ironic because one of my I guess I have the stream. Let me double check on something. Sexual themes. Okay, we're good. Because one of my kinks is to be objectified in that way, to be treated like a thing, but a beloved thing, a thing that is cared about, a thing that is treasured. It's very nuanced, and I don't want to jump right into like BDSM and kink theory because that's not necessarily what this is about. But it's just this is when you can have fun in fiction. This is why dark fiction is such a relieving thing. It's such an it's a playground where you can experiment with these emotions that you cannot do healthily in real life, or at least not in the same way, not unless you do have a BDSM scene with carefully orchestrated safe words and agreements and whatnot. But that's why dark fiction is just really healthy for people to be able to indulge in and explore.
Yeah, no, and I think that that's a really I genuinely I think that that is a very positive thing because that's the thing is that like everybody wants to make the argument about like oh if we let people read these things then it's it's going to influence them negatively, but like genuinely I think that fiction in whatever capacity that you read it is a really great way to explore your own boundaries
Yeah.
in
Like
whatever like capacity that is, because how do I want to put this, like I'm very interested in like serial killers and just like toxic and abusive relationships and that kind of thing in general. I'm not going to go out and like try to meet a serial killer to discuss these things. Like, so, but like looking at this, the fiction is a really easy way to explore topics that I'm interested in without it bleeding over into real life, if that makes sense. And I think it's kind of the same thing with what you're talking about like kinks and that kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
it's safe to explore that in fiction and kind of figure out what are your positives and negatives in regards to like that all of that kind of thing. So
Yeah, and
you
I
said that you saw somebody's question. Sorry,
oh yeah, no,
didn't.
I don't worry, I still have it. No, the thing I was
Okay,
going to
cool.
bring up is I saw Taz's little analogy that some of the content that she wrote when she was younger. Yeah, no, like writing, like it when described like that, it sounds so fucked up, but it's like you are able to explore topics and concepts and like so much in the safe space of writing or any fiction. It doesn't have to be writing, but any kind of media. Like I think one of the things for me that has been so interesting to see grow and develop is my concept of like I don't I would say I don't want to say the erotica of gore. No, not even that, like the romanticization of gore
Mm,
of like the serial killer, which is really interesting. But like I'll use Doctor. I'll use Doctor as a great example. So we'll reach it back. Like I know like oh I'm trying to word this. I think maybe actually you know what, maybe this might be better to describe using the content, the topics of yeah, intimacy, Queenie. I think that's really good. But like no, I'll use the Sun and Moon fandom. Robots. one of the things I started when one of the things I started allowing myself to explore more was the concept of opening yourself up to somebody. Literally. I do mean physically and
Mm.
literally, because when I was really hardcore into um the DCA, or the daycare attendant fandom, which is part of the Five Nights at Freddy's security breach fandom. One of the things I made was a self-insert where the concept is they were an android. They were an animatronic secretly.
Mhm.
They were secretly an animatronic, and they didn't realize that until later into life. And then suddenly they're like, "Oh, I I don't actually function like a human being. I don't actually have blood that flows in my veins. I don't actually have human eyeballs." And like I remember writing or exploring this one scene, and I'm trying to describe this generally so anybody can kind of understand where I'm going with this, was them basically they had an injury. They had some kind of mechanism failure inside of them. And they were having this really existential moment of, what do I do? It was like a
Mm.
very out of body, almost like a disassociative experience is how I imagined it. And it was this intimacy of this other character, which was Sun, for those who know the fandom, where Sun is basically going, "It's okay. I know what's going wrong. You're going to have to let me open up your chest. I have to see some of your wires." And it was just that moment that it snapped. I'm like, writing that scene of him opening up the MC's chest, um, and reaching in, and his hands, like describing his hands in the wires, and the reader is basically going, "This is how do I describe the concept of someone physically has their hand inside my chest cavity?" And it was
Mhm.
exploring the intimacy, the care of just, "I'm going to fix this. Your wires literally got crossed. One of like some kind of mechanical failure." It was a very easy thing. He fixed it. And they were just like having this moment of, "Oh, this is a sensation that I did not think I was physically capable of." And while the reader is having that, I'm having this like, "Oh, that is incredibly intimate." And in that one moment, I was like, I see why people romanticize, like,
Mhm.
that can see romance and erotica and gore now. And it's
Yeah.
really interesting because even now, like, I say to my friends, when I'm in VR chat, when I'm taking on a robotic avatar, the concept of wire play, of like physically being broken into pieces, of like having my quote unquote robotic guts all over, is so much. Hi, Sonny. You really bumped in on quite a time.
You came in at a very interesting moment.
But don't worry, we're talking. We're having a good chat. But the suddenly I was like, my mind could suddenly safely think about this whole new concept, where
Mm.
previously body horror was a trigger. Body horror and like gore was like a thing that I never touched out of fear. And I'm like, it's gross. It disgusts me. It makes me feel like, oh, it makes me feel weird. But then I started safely exploring it in an avenue that I could relate to. And now suddenly I'm like, okay, I'm not into gore in that same way. I'm not suddenly super comfortable with all of that, but it's a really good example of how I went to the edge of my boundary of comfort. I pushed on it a little bit. I found something that felt safe. I pushed on it a little bit, and my boundary got a little wider. I could suddenly appreciate a little bit more. I could suddenly understand a little bit more, and I could empathize with others, even if I didn't share that one to one. And I would say, arguably, now that has allowed me to understand the intimacy and romance of gore for a character like Doctor from the Freak Circus, where that is very much his thing. I think I was actually talking to you, Salem, when I was like, "Oh, I really want to write. I really want to write like a snippet of Doctor confessing his love to the MC, but he doesn't
Mm.
know the language of romance. He knows the language of anatomy. He knows the language of blood and
Yeah.
viscera. So he would be like." Sweetie, I don't know how to describe these feelings I have for you. All I know is I want to meld my body with yours until our rib cages intertwine, until our hearts beat side by side with blood dripping from them. Like, that is the language he knows. And I'm just like, oh, that sounds
Mhm.
so romantic now. That sounds so beautiful in a way that 5 years ago, I would not have understood. I would not have the vocabulary or the connection to understand that. So I'm going to wheel myself around as that's what I mean when I say fiction is a playground to safely explore these things and being able to maybe you'll. I'm not saying, oh, you're going to find it. You have so many more kinks than you have. You have so many more whatevers. No, but it's just like, it's an example of it allowed me to safely play around with it and figure out
Mhm.
what I was comfortable with and what I wasn't still.
Yeah, and I do think, um so there have actually been studies that have been done, and I don't have any, journals off the top of my head, that I remember, but they've done extensive studies that reading fiction and reading widely in fiction, um, does make you actually more empathetic.
Mhm.
And so even if it's you saying like, oh, I don't think that you're going to suddenly have all these kinks or whatever. Um,
That's a good point, though, being able to
it's even if it's
empathize.
not that. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no. I was just kind of like, yeah, I was agreeing with you. You're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it does make you more empathetic, and that's something that like I've also found reading a lot of, even if it's not specifically horror but very like dark literature.
Mhm.
um y- you can start to understand why people in real life behave the way they
Mhm.
do. And you can even sit here and recognize and go, oh, that's super messed up, that's not okay. I understand why that person, in whatever mindset that they're in, would believe that what they're doing is acceptable.
I'm adjusting my posture.
Excuse me. Ooh, sorry. Had a little bit of a burp there, my bad. um, but it doesn't
Water.
make it. Oh, are we doing water? Okay, sorry. um,
Apologies. The floating water returned.
no, it's okay. I'm also going to take a water break. There we are. Okay. But it does make it so that. Okay, I'm about to step into kind of a weird conversation here,
Okay.
but
I'm
like when
following.
you track into like real life stuff of people who are like abusers, people who um would do horrible things to people, and the justifications that they have in their mind for it, a lot of times people will sit there and be like, I don't understand how they could do this or blah blah blah. Reading dark fiction in general, you can start to understand how people got to that place. Understand, I'm not saying that it excuses that behavior. I want to make that very, very clear. It does not excuse the behavior in any way, shape, or form. But it does make it so that you can understand. And in my brain, at least, I've had to come to grips with a lot of things in my life where I'd read a character and I'd be reading the character and I'd be like, wow, this person is a complete piece of shit. And then I'd read something and I'd be like, oh shit, that's me. And turn around and having to learn, oh, that's not okay from literature. I don't know if I'm making sense with this, but like
No. Actually,
you you understand the reasoning. You start to become more empathetic and you understand the reasoning of how people got into those places so that you can turn around and go, okay, now that I understand the psychology, the mind space, the head space, how do we make it so that that doesn't happen?
Yeah, no, it's a really good example. And I'm not going to use the example that was given on the post that I originally saw this, but because it was very extreme and probably too much for even there. But it was every human being has the capacity, has the ability to be cruel. Every human being has the capacity to be a horrible, atrocious human being. None of us have a switch in our brain that goes good person, bad person, that's turned to good person. Each and every one of us has the capacity to do harm. Each and every one of us has the capacity to be racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and anti-Semite. I'm not sure all the words, but basically to be judgmental, to be cruel, to be horrible people. And when you start going, oh, that person in that book, he's a villain. He's just evil. He was super racist. He was just, that's not me. I'm a good person. I can't be racist. It puts up a barrier that you just automatically assume I can't do bad because I'm not a bad person. No, we all can do bad things. We all can do horrible things. To open up and understand this is how this antagonist, this horrible villain, got to the point that he is obsessively murdering people left and right, or like doing these atrocious, horrible things. It allows you to identify these things. It allows you to identify negative behaviors. It allows you to identify discrimination. It allows you to understand when your biases and judgments are getting, this is not good. Because once you say, I can't do bad things because I'm a good person, you fundamentally stop yourself from growing. You fundamentally stop yourself from being able to identify these things. You take away the concept that even atrocious, horrible people are still human. They're still multifaceted human beings. Anybody could be that way. I like anybody could do that. And it's really humbling and scary. That's why a lot of people don't necessarily realize that easily, because it's scary to acknowledge you could hurt somebody. It's scary to acknowledge you could say something horribly offensive and hurt somebody. It's scary to acknowledge that you could do harm. But it's important to recognize that you have the capacity, because choosing to be kind is stronger than being kind because you think that's the default. Kindness is something that should actively and constantly be strived for. Kindness, empathy, awareness, openness, humiliation is something that is a constant striving force. It's not something that you just turn on and you keep going. You have to constantly check yourself and check those around you. That's the other thing, is being aware enough to go, hey, dude, you said something really transphobic. I know you. I know you. You're not like this. Let's kind of sit down and see, why'd you say that? What made you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? What information do you have that you think this way? Let's talk about it. And just also being able to understand people are people and we make mistakes. I apologize. I am going full rabbit hole mode, but that's one of the reasons I have a huge issue with purity culture. I call it purity brigades. Purity brigades. I genuinely try to assume good faith. I assume that people make a mistake. I even said it like on my Twitter like earlier today. I do not care if someone comes up to me and says the most transphobic ass homophobic shit I've ever heard in my life. Because if I believe they didn't say it maliciously, if I believe, oh, you made a mistake or you made an assumption, well, yes, I'll probably be hurt. Don't get me wrong. But I would like to go, why? Because we all make mistakes. We should be allowed to grow and learn from them. We should be allowed to be human and grow. We should grow. You should definitely hold someone to growing. If you make a mistake, you should learn from that and avoid that mistake in the future. But like, it's one of the reasons I really hate whenever I go on like social media or Twitter and I see someone starting to go, don't interact with this person because they're racist as fuck. don't interact, and they have a screenshot of this person's Twitter page, or don't interact with this person, or don't do this, block this person, do this. And I'm just like, what did they fucking do? And two, there's a good chance that you caught them on a bad day. They misspoke. They did something bad. That doesn't automatically make them an irredeemable piece of shit. Now, some people are, don't get me wrong. Some people are, but give people grace. Remember to give people grace. And sometimes that's hard. I have really crazy autism sometimes with that. I have RSD, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, I think is what it's called right now. But I have those issues. So if I can be very sensitive when someone like says something like cruel or mean or like, fuck, even if I go on to a YouTuber who's playing the freak circuit and goes like, I don't like the voices, I'll be like, oh, that makes me feel really bad. But like, everybody's a person. And that's a bad example because that's more just example of RSD. But everybody deserves grace.
Yeah.
That's a
good
question right there too. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers for that one. For 3, Racha Audrey.
Okay. Yeah, I think you said everything that I was gonna add on.
I'm
I'm like,
sorry.
nope, you got it.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
That wasn't a negative. I was like, I can't really add on to that because like, again, you and I have beat this conversation to death, but it's like, for the love of God, people, like give people the benefit of a doubt like once.
Yeah, it's
TTS typical Salem and Suki conversation.
This is, I want you all to imagine us in a coffee shop together, and this is the conversation we are actively having half of the time.
In the library, in the coffee shop, people giving us a wide-ass berth.
But it's, no, I think it's also because me and Salem come from old internet. I say quote unquote old internet, but like early 2000s internet where it's like, social media was not what it is now. Like, if you misspoke, your close friends would probably tell you, hey, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool, bro. But then you wouldn't, I'm bald now. You wouldn't have 300 random ass strangers coming up to you and go, what did you say in that tweet 2 weeks ago that you apologized for? And you started making, what? You said the thing? I am going to screenshot this and it's going to be immortalized from this one screenshot because people are just going to take me at face value and they're not actually going to do their research. Like,
Well, I'm like,
oh yeah, Sunny. COVID is an interesting concept. I'll say Sunny Chance did mention COVID was a fundamental force that changed a lot of social media culture and internet culture. I'm going to put that there. You can pick it up at any point, Salem, but I will agree with that.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, I've had to do a lot of growing and learning in my life. Both personally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all that kind of stuff. Like I've had to unlearn a lot of really toxic behaviors. And so like I can speak personally from saying that like 90% of the time, if I say something like really nasty, it is not intentional. It's what I've learned. And so giving people the benefit of the doubt to say like, hey, did you mean to say that like that? Or like the way that I speak, and I'm sure that I'm gonna look back at this VOD and be like, oh wow, that came out way more intense than I meant it to. Because anytime I hear recordings of myself, I'm like, I sound like I'm yelling at people. But like that's the way. I don't want to just be like, well, that's just the way that I talk. But like that's the way that I've communicated my whole life. And having to like unlearn the intensity and unlearn a lot of my behaviors has been a great experience. So like I speak from, the other side of like not immediately assuming ill intent, because a lot of times when I say stuff, I'm just talking. I don't mean it in like any kind of negative way. So
yeah, but also like a good thing is like, okay, like a great example of like, hey, you're having to unlearn negative behaviors. I bet you were able to unlearn those a lot easier if you were surrounded by people who gave you the grace to not immediately go, you're a fucking horrible person, and just leave you. Like, there is something to be said about like friendship. Like, friends should make you the best person you can be. They should not be your yes men. They should not be there to
Yeah,
go,
I
oh,
don't
you're
know why
always
you're
right
still
all the
friends with me,
time.
honestly, because I
No,
treated you
because
like shit when we were younger, and
I was all
you were just like, "You're my friend."
I was also fucking dense as a bag of rocks, and goddamn, golden retriever through and through from fucking birth. But no, it's a great
Yeah, what was that
example.
about getting kidnapped as a child and not learning about it until like 10 years later?
Speak on
Okay.
how you met.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that was one thing that I wanted to remember, and then I have three Racha Audrey's question that I have saved, kind of, because it was a good one. It's like being able to like see another person go, you said something pretty fucking shitty. That doesn't make you a bad person, but we should improve that. That should get better. It's like it makes you less afraid to be ignorant. It makes you less afraid to learn, to acknowledge like, hey, I don't know. I have grown myself because I've had patient people around me who were willing to go, hey, that wasn't cool, but let's talk about this. Let's like, hey, that's not cool, and we move on. Like, let's talk about it. Hey, that's not cool. Let's not do that again. And life continues, and you learn that, and you get better, and you get better with that. But yes, how we met.
Oh dear, there's a question about that, dear.
Yeah, someone was wanting the story about how we met.
Okay. Do you want to tell it, or do you want me to tell it? Or do you want to tell your side and then I'll tell it from
your
my
side.
side?
You tell your side. I'm curious.
So, I don't remember the specifics. So, have in mind, middle school me, 11 years old, vibing, doing my thing. All of a sudden, spontaneously, this strange little boy just pops up into my life, latches himself to my arm, and goes, "We're friends now."
I will clarify because this is going to be really fucking interesting for stream, especially for gender concepts. And because I've told Salem, it is okay to refer to me with she, her pronouns in the past tense before I transition. Because fun fact, I'll explain this. Maybe this might help people feel interesting about their gender. I didn't socially transition until I was 21. I want to say 21.
Yeah,
It confuses some
early
people.
to mid 20s, because
Yeah.
I just remember like we lost touch for a hot minute,
Mhm.
and there was a period of like 3 or 4 years where like we only touched base like maybe once a year. And it was always just like it was almost like you like rollerblading past my window, just being like, "Hey, by the way, I'm trans." And being like,
Hey, by the way.
"Okay."
But previous to being 21 years old, this confuses some people, but I like explaining it, especially since sometimes it does help people's gender like confidence. Before I was 21, before I decided I'm trans, I am a trans male, I will refer to myself with she, her pronouns, because before that, I was a woman. I was comfortable with that. I was very comfortable with that title. I was very comfortable with those pronouns. I use them openly and whatnot. So that's totally fine. So it is, I am okay with people when they're talking about me in the past tense. It doesn't matter. I fucking use whatever pronouns I don't care. Again, if you're not being offensive on purpose, I don't give a shit. But before that point, I will refer to myself as a girl, as a woman, because that's what I was at the time. And I describe it as like my past self before transitioning. That my past self is my little sister, and I love her. She was dumb and sometimes she had her moments, but she's like my little sister, and I love her for who she was. And fundamentally, she became me, but like that's how I see it. So just quick context aside, because you can continue referring to male terms, but just putting that out there because it's always a fun fact that people like sometimes get a little confused about.
No, you're totally good. I'm so used to just referring to you as a guy. Now, I've told you before that,
that's
like, I
fine.
just kind of view you in my mind as this genderless entity that exists in my life.
No, that's fine.
I'm always just like, yes, Vegas, my golden retriever that that I see.
Which is fun
regularly.
fact. Salem will call me Vegas because one fun fact about me is I lived in Las Vegas for about 3 years when I was in. No, that was before I moved to where you were.
Yeah, because you moved to where I was
Wait, well,
from Vegas,
we're not there
from Las Vegas, and
anymore.
that's why I called you Vegas.
We're not there
So,
anymore. Are you comfortable with saying that area?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, when I moved to Wisconsin. Yeah, when I moved to Wisconsin
like,
from Las Vegas.
What an absolute whiplash, though, to go from Las Vegas to frickin' Wisconsin. Like, just as much drinking, but definitely fewer prostitutes.
So we can roll in with that how we met. So you fucking this young ass kid rolling up like, hey, I'm from Las Vegas. I lived there for 3 years. I saw a lot of naked women on the street.
Which is like so wild. And again, I don't remember like specifically the first time that we met. But I just remember like all I remember is like there was middle school before you, and then all of a sudden you were just there all the time, positive, affectionate.
If it tells you guys anything about, hold on, I gotta whip this one out. This is fun. We had the kind of friendship.
Sure, whip it out, lay it on the table.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay it on the table. Oh, I remember some of my earliest memories of our friendship was us after we met, and we're like, "You're weird, I'm weird. Let's be weird together." We like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh my god. We like Naruto. Oh my god. And then us on the bus, which would be like a 15-20 minute bus ride every morning from where we were to the school, and us RPing on the bus, verbally RPing, verbally role playing. So you imagine like text role play, imagine that verbally happening. Like okay, no. like hold on, example, like Salem, my character walks into the bar. He takes a look to the left and the right. He sees your character, makes a moment. He's gonna go sit next to you. Hey, how are you doing? Like that. Like basically fucking pre-D&D. We'd be raw dogging it on the public school bus.
No, but okay, you were talking about Avatar. It wasn't Avatar at that point. In order, it was fucking Inuyasha, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes!
Naruto, TMNT, Star Wars.
Yes! Yes. I subjected you to my love for General Grievous. So much of it.
Oh my god. Oh, I find it so funny that one year I drew you a picture of General Grievous in a Santa hat one year as like a gift. Also, I'm sorry, there's a train going by if you can hear that.
It's okay, you're fine.
But it's like I drew that for you, and I still think about it in like a funny way. It's like this random. I posted it online, and this random person messaged and put a comment on it. It was just like, "Huh, this kind of looks like General Grievous," and I was like, "No shit."
But like, this looks a little bit like him. I don't know.
No. But yeah, it's really funny now because like kind of circling back to you talking about like discovering your like kinks and stuff. I remember one night, like super late at night, this was like a year or two ago, we were chatting, and you had discovered that you were like a robot fucker and whatever.
Yeah.
Years ago. But like we were talking and I was just like, cool. Let me know when you figure out the fucking lizard people thing. And you're like, the what? And I was like, let me know when you figure it out. And that's how long we've been friends.
Yeah, let me know when you figure that out. Let me know when you figure this other thing out. You still got a foot in the closet. Hold on.
And you literally, I remember you being like, I need to go talk to Alex about this.
It's because General Grievous's race is a lizard alien race. which kind of formulated into like the monster fucking and like my interest in non-human aliens, like aliens, monsters, and such forth. Also, yes, General Grievous is the cyborg in episode 3 who is like, I will add another addition to my collection. Though I will say, if you ever want to love Grievous, go watch the 2D animated series of the Clone Wars, where, oh god, the voice actor Tavrotsky, it's a Russian last name, best voice for him. Oh, me and Destiny have talked about that before. Best iteration of General Grievous. Oh, I love him. Also, fun fact, that was my first ever fan fiction and my first ever OC, Sokajin, which is fucking hilarious.
Suki running into
Yeah,
the
I still
living
owe you
room. What does a
$50 for that, by
person
the
think
way.
you mean looking up
Because
the
I made
newspaper?
because you had this bad habit of you'd start your like fanfic things and you'd write like maybe 2 or 3 pages and then you'd be like, on to my next thing. ADHD who? But I remember at one point I was just like, if you ever write, what was it? It was like 50 or 100 pages. I was like, if you ever get to the point where you actually write 50 or 100 pages of this fanfic, I'll give you $50. Keep in mind, I was 12, so $50 was like winning the fucking
$50 was
lottery.
yeah, $50 for 12-year-olds. $50 was like fucking gold money right there. Yeah, Bryn, that was it. That's I believe that's the guy. Yes. I want to say that's the guy. Yes, he does a beautiful voice for General Grievous. Like my preference out the bat. Like nobody can do it better. And also, Bradley, I'm doing pretty gosh darn good. I'm sitting here having a good talk with my best friend, so I am having a great time. Hopefully, you're also having a good time.
I'm doing great. I don't know if that was to Bryn or me or Bradley or me, but I'm having a great time.
Fuck, that's also to you. How you doing, Salem?
I'm doing great.
But yeah, no, it's funny because that Star Wars, I think, really was a formative fandom for both of us when we were younger, especially considering that was around the time episode 3 came out and all the big stuff was happening. But it is funny because now I think about that and I'm like, I was 12 years old. That was my first fan fiction. That was my first original character. She was a self-insert. That's actually one of the reasons I think I have such an interesting relation to my gender before transitioning, because Sokajin is that original character's name. She is a woman. She was a self-insert. She was she was mega self-insert. She is a really good representation of the growth and who I saw myself becoming as a person if I had not transitioned. So it's very interesting because she is an OC now. She's still technically self-insert E, but she is a woman. She is a female character, and she is so developed because that's a 20-plus-year-old character. So I keep saying one of these days I'm going to finish that fan fiction. That is one of those fan fictions where you
have written and rewritten and rewritten that thing to death. And honestly, like if you finished it at this point, I would fucking read it. And I don't read fan fiction. Like I'd read it just to be like, congratulations, you have finished this. It is 20 plus years in the making.
I wrote it once when I was 12. Never, like when I say once, I got like 50 or 60,000 words. Wrote it once when I was 12. Did an edit when I was like 18 or 19, and then did one more edit in like my early to mid 20s. So it's not like super to my current status of writing, but I'm just like, I'm still proud of that. I'm just like, man, I have some of the earliest fucking versions of that. Like some of the earliest versions. And I'm like, it's so fascinating. It's a great example of seeing me grow as a person in how I'm tackling some of these topics.
Yes. Also, confirm to the individual that says Darth friends probably have the best time of their lives. Correct. Any time he's around, it's an absolute treasure. But my life is infinitely better for him being in it. But
I love my friends.
I also love my friends.
Yay!
I was gonna be a dick and be like, I also love me.
Yay! No, love yourself. Love yourself, bitch. Do it. Say it. Say it.
No, fuck you. No, but no, but I don't think you have the original version of that because you hand wrote, I shit you not. And this
Oh
is
no,
the
you're
kind of like,
right.
because you hand wrote the very first iteration of that, and it was like 20 pages front and back of notebook paper. And I about shit myself when you handed that to me, and you're like, see, I'm gonna win. And I was like, yeah, sure, buddy.
I'm gonna say this because I think there is a couple people, not too many in here, but a couple people. Yeah, for those of you who are a patron of Destiny Squared, Square Root of Destiny. Goddamn, I can't remember what order her name goes in. Yeah, I know some of you probably have a Patreon only stream to go get to. Don't you worry for a moment. You go watch her draw. Go see some of her lovely art. Send my love that way. Because I knew that it was going to kind of carry over a little bit. I'm hoping to jump in there once I'm done with that. For Square Root of Destiny. Square Root of Destiny is one of the team members for the Freak Circus, a good friend of me, Neko and Taz, has some beautiful art, and she does art streams. So for context.
Hell yeah.
But that context over. So yeah, don't you guys worry about it if you gotta hop out. I ain't gonna take no offense to that. There's gonna be a VOD.
Amazing.
Taz, what are you going, Daniel? Daniel, why are you going, Daniel? What?
What do you want, Taz?
I love you, Taz. That's the thing. She has her OC that I'm completely obsessed over. Is he's so emotionally distant? Well, he's emotionally distant on the outside, but like really emotionally constipated on the inside. So he doesn't say "I love you." He says, "I have a fond regard for you," and I'm sorry, that gets me every time. But trying to wheel ourselves back. This is genuinely a great example of like my pure ADHD and autism going haywire, and Salem managing to keep up with that half the time.
It's just because I've known you long enough that I know where the ping pong ball is going to hit when it officially lands. So
you know me enough to be able to counter to predict the trajectory of my thoughts.
Yes, I'm not. Sometimes I get left behind, but no, I can usually keep up pretty well. I love this track of conversation, but one, you were going to tell your side of how we became friends. And then there was another question that you were going to answer.
I did. I have it
up.
saved. I have it saved. So okay. But I'm trying to remember because I'm old enough that now those earlier years are a little foggy. I also just have a shit ass memory sometime, but don't worry, Three Racha Audrey, I got it saved. I actually have it saved in another window so I don't lose it. But I remember moving from Las Vegas to Wisconsin, and I just remember the new kid in school phase where it's like you're so timid, and I'm like, I gotta feels it out. And you're like,
because you also moved in the middle of the year, I think.
Yeah, I did.
In the middle of the school year.
Middle of the year, 6th grade.
Yeah, because we spent the entirety of 7th grade together. Yes. So
I just have a distinct memory of like, I think one of the memories that I have is us being at the lunch table and like talking about Naruto and our favorite characters from Naruto. And I remember you really liked, oh God.
Do you remember my favorite? Do you remember him?
Hinata's brother.
Yeah, Neji.
Neji, yes. You love Neji, and then I loved
TTS
and Gaara.
Discord,
yes,
those two are my boys.
Yes. And then I loved, oh goodness, is Kabuki Gaara's brother? Kankuro. Why am I thinking Kabuki? I think that's a different character. It's been years, chat. It's been years, okay? But yeah, Kankuro. I loved him. I still do. Like, those characters are still awesome. I just haven't fucking watched Naruto in it's like fucking 15 years. But I remember, like, I think it was like us sussing each other out, like, what do we both like that's in common? And the classic, I have my fucking backpack that's like 25% school materials and 75% sketchbooks and coloring pencils and like my collection of pencils that I would find randomly in the hallway. I would have, like, my parents would get me actual, like, here are your pencils, here's some mechanical pencils and some pens. We followed the school supply list. But I would end up having a pencil case of just things I would find. I would have
Your
mostly
backpack was
random
such a
fucking.
chaotic mess. Like, affectionately, your backpack was always such a chaotic mess.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, those are probably my earliest memories of like knowing you, was like sitting down at the lunch table and going, okay, you look cool. What you drawing over there? I'm posturing. I'm checking my posture. And like you going, well, what are you into? And what are you drawing over there? And then from there, I just remember us being friends. I remember, well, I remember us being friends until we had that one weird fight that I only vaguely remember. And it's such a middle school thing too.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember that we were like super pissed at each other for like a week.
I think we were audibly RPing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I said, my character has this card. And it's like, my character has this ultra super rare powerful card and totally wins the duel. And you're just like, no, you don't, that you can't have that. And you and me just going, no, I can have that. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. And then we're like, fine, we're not friends anymore. And then we sat at different lunch tables
for like a week.
And that was,
and then we were friends again. But yeah, no, I genuinely, I'm gonna take your word that that's what the fight was, because I don't even remember what the fight was about.
I remember that much, that it was like
please check Discord.
Oh, please check Discord. Okay, it was basically like a little disagreement, and then that was it. So, oh goodness, give me one quick moment, actually. I'm going to BRB for something. Salem, if you would like to,
Yes.
I'm trying to think of another touch base that you could touch on. You know what? I'm just going to do the Suki thing of, you have the floor, Salem.
Hell yeah. You'll definitely not regret this in about 5 minutes. No, but Twilight Artist, best of luck with your surgery. I don't know what it's for, but sending you all of the good and positive vibes. So how y'all doing? We enjoying it? We enjoying the stream so far? I hope so. Do I have a favorite Freak Circus character? So I don't follow Freak Circus the way that I keep calling him Vegas. If I call Darsuki Vegas, that's just because that's my name for him since we were literally 11. So I don't have a favorite Freak Circus character, only because I don't follow Freak Circus in the same way. I do watch you guys. I do watch you guys in the Tumblr sphere, because I like seeing the art and stuff that you guys make. And believe it or not, I do sometimes send some of my favorites to Vegas to look at, because I'm like, this one's really cute. Let's see. What is... I am looking at chat. Stop caressing my face, Luna. Do I have a favorite freak circuit? And I answered that. Just competed like a month ago. Oh, what are you competing in, Mochi, if I can ask? I would say really nice things about Darth Circuit. Yes, absolutely. You know what would be really great? What would be really, really super awesome? Is if everybody just puts like super positive things into Vegas's ask box or into the chat. And if you can subscribe, just like bomb him with subscriptions right now. I think that would be really fun and really, really sweet and positive. Cause a little chaos, positive chaos. What current fandoms am I into? I'm not a huge fandom person, but I follow a lot of really like small indie presses. So like I like following Trueborn Press, Tenebris Press, Actually, Tenebris Press just put out a new book today, so I am hoping that I will eventually be able to get that. It's called Alicia is Not in the Basement. Does it bother you if horror is... Oh, I will say, I do like Warhammer. I do like Star Trek Next Gen and the original series, but I'm not like heavy into it. I just kind of like it as an adjacent. Does it bother you if horror is just for shock value without cohesive narrative? Me personally, yes, it does kind of bother me. I defend its right to exist because I think that it's important. I think that all literature has its place in the world, and so I do. I think that it has a valid place, but it's just not. It's just not for me. But I do love horror. Happy birthday, your dear Harlequin.
Birthday.
I'm
Birthday,
sorry.
birthday,
I'm sorry
birthday,
that it's
birthday.
that it's not being a great one. But happy birthday, all the same.
Nothing's stopping you from saying, hey, today's a shitty birthday. I'm going to retry celebrating it tomorrow. You know what? Your birthday is the day.
Yeah.
Like if you have a shitty birthday on the day that you were birthed, just go, you know what? Nah, I'm taking a rain check on this one, bitch. We're gonna redo that this Saturday. I'm gonna have a good Saturday. That's the way I
Yeah.
mentally kind of do it sometimes. Also, oh, real quick, I heard a little what you were talking about, Salem. If you could quick check Discord real quick. I'll kind of bounce off of that. Because I heard you
Discord.
I heard you talking about like the fictional right to exist, which is really no, Taz, I can't be tempted. But the fictional right to exist, which is really interesting. The concept of there are horrible things that exist. There are horrible topics that exist. There are disgusting things that exist that I don't like, but I will defend its right to exist in fiction because fundamentally, I like the concept of archive of our own, how they determine it. It's like when you put a line down, someone is controlling where that line is. Someone is controlling how far it goes left or right. And at some point, that line will be weaponized. Like, for example, if we start saying only, certain kinks, you can't write about that. You can't create art about that. It doesn't matter. Those are disgusting. I'm going to use incest. You can't write about incest. That's disgusting. Why would you do that? Well, suddenly now the bar is getting moved. Okay, incest. Okay, wait a minute. Now, gay. You can't be gay. Gay? Well, they're disgusting too. What? You can't do this. You can't do that. And the bar is getting moved. For example, for those who don't know the history, LiveJournal used to be a very, very prevalent space for all sorts of writing content. It was a place that people put a lot of queer writing on. And then it started to come down because I think it was they had ads or something. Basically, they were pressured to no, you got to clean it out. You got to think of the children. They nuked so many journals. They nuked so many forums. They nuked so much content with the adage of it's inappropriate because there was queer content. And they used the argument of inappropriate fictional content. Yeah, LiveJournal, much was lost because of that, which is why Archive of Our Own is a great example of tag it. You have to tag these certain things. Respect your fellow interwebs. Respect your fellow humans and tag your shit properly and responsibly. But it is allowed to exist. I have seen some decrepit shit on Archive of Our Own. I've seen some really nasty shit that may or may not trigger me genuinely. And you know what I do when I come across that? I scroll past it. Or if I'm searching for something, I will make sure that my search excludes that tag or excludes that ship, excludes that content because it has a right to exist. When
Yeah.
someone is writing the most disgusting shit, drawing the most disgusting shit, like I'm being very fucking real. Like, I've seen some horrifying stuff, but if it's fictional, it has a right to exist because I do not want an advertiser. I don't want the government. I don't want companies to be able to waltz in and go, we get to pick and choose where this line is now because we're giving you money. We get to choose what gets censored. We get to choose what gets shown because every single time that happens, that is an excuse to remove autonomy, remove people's rights to talk about things, remove the ability to for example, we're seeing even on the internet now, things are getting difficult to talk about like abuse, pedophilia in a purely sense of like, this is what you look out for so you can avoid being fucking groomed. Like even educational topics of talking about grooming, pedophilia, incest, rape, harassment, that is getting censored too. Like the concept of talking about abortion, like here is how you take care of yourself. Here is how you as a woman protect yourself. These are your rights to your own body, are getting censored for the same fucking reasons as they're trying to say it's because it's inappropriate.
Yeah, and like circling back to the thing talking about like literature in general,
Mhm.
like if you start taking away people's avenues to talk about this kind of stuff and try to put it as like, oh, we're protecting the children, like there are people who won't understand that they are in an abusive relationship or that they have learned abusive behaviors without those avenues. Like again, speaking from experience, like there are times you don't know until you see it, and or if people call it out, and a lot of times people don't call it out. You have to rely on other avenues. So it's like if this kid, and I'm going to use it as an example, but like if this kid is reading literature and they're like, oh, everybody's super pissed at this one dude because he's trying to date a child or whatever, date like a 16-year-old, and everybody's super pissed. Why? And then in the literature, it's like, oh, because that's pedophilia, and it's I'm trying to like organize my thoughts here, but it's like, again, exploring things in literature is one thing, but it also like opens up the avenues for people to have conversations about these kinds of things. And
It
even if you
removes
want
the
to say like,
stigma. Like it
yeah,
removes
and
the stigma of that conversation.
yeah, because even then, if somebody reads something that is like talking about it in a romanticized way, they can then like have that conversation and you can discuss it in the real world of like the ramifications of this thing. So it's that's a whole,
And
yeah.
especially because kind of even moving into it, children are smart. Children are intelligent. Children are, I'm gonna be real with y'all folks, and I'm comfortable with talking about this. How should I kind of get into a trigger warning? For trigger warning, even for my mods, trigger warning for grooming. I experienced some not so nice things from a family friend as a child. I didn't know what was going on. I never had that experience. I was sexually harassed. I'll say it like that. I was sexually harassed by a family friend when I was a child. And I didn't know what was going on until I got older and I had really awesome teachers in school that introduced me to books that gave me these languages. And these books featured like grooming. These books featured like I don't know if I'd say pedophilia, but they introduced these topics in a way that gave me language that goes, "Oh, I experienced this." I could point at the book and go, "This is what happened to me." And of course, my teachers, really good teachers. My language arts teacher in like late elementary school, I love her. I cannot remember her name. Beautiful person, where she sat down and was just like, "Okay, this is really serious. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. And how are you feeling?" And that allowed me an avenue to open up to my parents, to open up to a counselor, to open up to avenues and resources that helped me. And that's because children can endure horrible things. Adults can endure horrible things. When you don't have that language, it's hard to talk about and it's hard to tackle these issues, especially in a social level, when your people in that community don't have those words, the language to use to identify and acknowledge that and then realize that's not a good thing.
And especially as you get into teen years and stuff, kids want to know, they want to read about things, they're going to have questions about things. So clamping down on what a lot of people in general can read, but especially, using the excuse of it being a child, and being like, no, you can't read that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then where are they supposed to learn it from? Where are they supposed to find whether or not they can ask about these things? And kind of pulling back from the intensity of
thank you.
sexual assault and anything like that. I think about one book that I really loved as a kid was called Freak the Mighty, and it's a children's book, not like a picture book, but it's written for middle grade kind of thing. And it's about this person who befriends a child who is terminally ill. It's these two kids that become best friends, and one of the friends is terminally ill. And, spoiler warning, the friend dies. And it fucked me up. But it was this avenue to experience grief and to process grief in a way that made sense to me as a kid. Because I've joked about this, but because of where I lived and my family and all that kind of stuff, it's funerals were more of a social gathering than anything, because they just happened so often. So it would be this thing of you'd go to somebody's funeral and it would be almost boisterous and laughing and stuff, because you'd get to see people and it would be this big gathering. So processing grief was always such a weird thing to me. And so
Fiction
then
is such a good way to help process and understand grief.
Reading this book, where this kid has to grieve this person who changed his life, was so incredibly healthy. And it's I think about that, and it's the book had a lot of really serious things in it. It's the main character's father. The main character lives with his grandparents because his father is in prison for killing his mom. You want to talk about serious things written for a kid who's 10, and the outsiders. The Outsiders is about a gang war, people. It's serious stuff, and yet
that's ringing a bell to me. Hold on.
S.E. Hinton, Ponyboy, Soda Pop.
Oh, okay.
Fucking Johnny Cake dying. I've read that book so many times, I still cry.
But I will kind of circle, because I have been promising I'd get to this question, especially because maybe it might pull a little bit back from the intensity of that topic. Unless you have more to add on, that's totally fine.
I just want to say, sorry, I know I list books off really fast. A couple people were asking the name of the books. It's Freak the Mighty and The Outsiders were the two books that I mentioned. So yeah, sorry. And there's the cue for you to pull up the question that you wanted to answer.
So this is going a little bit back, but it was a very interesting question in terms of intent when it comes to characters, especially murderers or someone who kills. So 3 Racha Audrey mentioned Salem. How would you guys feel about a character that kills on revenge versus killing for jealousy? An example. Piero killed a woman that had been rude to the MC, like a literal Karen. She is called Karen in the fandom because she was rude to the MC in a scene, and then later she is killed by Piero in one of his shows. And continuing on with the question, and Sullivan, I don't know this character, TKATB, don't know this one, killed someone that treated the MC good because he was jealous. So it's like killing someone, because they were cruel to the MC versus killing someone that was good and kind and sweet to the MC because that character is jealous. Do feelings change when the intention of the kill, just they've killed someone, but the intention is two different sides of the spectrum? Does that change thoughts on that character or that action?
Does it change thoughts on that character or that action? It changes how I approach them, but I love both in fiction, in my opinion.
Because 3 Racha says, I don't mind Piero because I couldn't care less if someone that treated me poorly, but I'll be mad if they killed someone who had genuinely been good to me. I would also agree that intent makes it very different for me, because for me, that goes back on, do they view the MC as an object to control, and this is my toy, no one else can play with this toy, this is a thing to me, versus Piero's, this person was unkind to you, I'm gonna kill them. But I will say, for example, the boss, he goes, is he mean to you? And then you go, oh no, he's my boss, he's fine. And then Piero kind of backs off. Like, I think Piero is very able to acknowledge, and characters like that, this person is important to you, they are not a danger to you. I still think he's capable of very horrible, weird things, so I'm going to preface that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to say, technically the game's still being written. But for me, it does. For me, it does. I enjoy both. I do enjoy more when it's like, I kill because they treated you badly. Because especially you have to talk about like, hey, there are consequences to that. You put me in more danger by doing that. I naturally dislike characters like, oh, I'm jealous, so I'm going to kill everybody around you, because it harkens back to the objectification in the not so nice way that I'm not as fond of that. But it's good. It has its place. I just don't personally vibe as much with that.
I personally, I guess, like both if it's done well. I also,
because I see it as
just
like a romance, and you see it for like the act of it, the artistry of it, the
like fascination, the like psychological fascination. I mean, like
yeah.
IRL, I will not shut up about the book and movie No Country for Old Men. I bring it up.
I remember when
week.
I remember when you first watched the movie and you're like, I have to tell you about this, please. And I'm just like, absolutely.
Again, I'm not like a big fandom person, but that book rewired something in my brain. But like, you look at Anton Chigurh and like, the big iconic scene is the scene in the gas station where he makes the gas station owner flip a coin to decide whether or not he's gonna kill him. And it's literally just because the dude annoyed him. Like, so in my mind, I'm like, that's fascinating psychologically. So looking at things of just like, oh, I'm going to, kill this person because they were mean to my, the object of my obsession, versus I'm going to kill this person because I don't want anyone else to draw the attention of the object of my obsession, are both fascinating to me, and I love them both for very different reasons, and would absolutely read the hell out of a horror novel that explored one or both. So yeah, if that's, I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly, but that is a great question.
Water.
Sorry,
I just
let us drink the water.
Drink the communal bottle. The communal bottle, delicious. It's see, this is genuinely like you could get us going. We didn't have a script for this. We looked at it and we went, we have enough topics to go on for like an hour or two. That's easy. Which I will say, I do know that I had the stream listed for a couple hours, but something did come up. All is good, but we will probably have to end the stream here, probably in about the next probably 5-10 minutes. So if we have any last kind of topics to mention on, it sounds like you guys like having Salem on for a podcast style stream. I feel like we might have to do this more often. I feel like
I
this
would
might
be down.
yeah, this might have to be something because I have like a list. Like I have other things I could go on. We just had something else that came up, so the schedule just wasn't gonna let it go on any longer. But it sounds
Super
like
secret. Did you
people
just call me Mommy Salami?
Mommy
What the
Salami!
fuck?
Yes! Hold on, I love it so much.
Oh my god. We've got Father Suki and Mommy Salami.
Father Suki and Mommy Salami.
Hang on. So,
It's above your head
Miss
now.
Red
Just
Rose Angel, don't know if you have time for this question, but I would love to know your thoughts on dark fiction that kind of calls itself out, like the movies Companion and Obsession. I have not seen either Companion nor Obsession. I want
Ooh.
to see Obsession so bad.
Like I'm assuming it means like self-aware. I'm trying to understand. I'm not familiar with either of those.
I've heard really good things about I've heard really good things about Obsession. I the day that I was gonna go see movies, I went with a friend, and it was Hokum or Obsession, and I saw Hokum, and I don't regret it. But now everybody's talking Obsession, so I need to see it, and then I will get back to you.
Hold on, I'll give a quick the synopsis. After breaking the mysterious one-wish willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic gets exactly what he asked for. However, he soon discovers that some desires come at a dark and sinister price. Okay, like turning a trope on its head in a way. Okay. Oh.
Luna, you are on for going to go watch Obsession. Also,
There you go.
To Zare Lennox 3098, you're currently writing a book called Geralonix. I don't know if I'm saying that correct. 8-year-old homeless kid finds an abandoned church to take shelter in. While exploring, he finds a scroll filled with dark magic and turns him into this demon. Sounds very interesting.
That sounds definitely like something Salem's into.
Absolutely. If you ever finish it, give it to me. I'll eat it.
Salem has a lot of experience with traditional publishing and in that style. Like it's always been the joke, I'm the fandom friend, and Salem does the traditional publishing and like like indie publishing and whatnot. You know a lot about that and
the traditional literature and but two sides of a great coin. Mochi is coming with us to see Obsession. Excellent. I don't no offense, Mochi, I have no idea who you are, but welcome. Come to the movie with us.
But yeah, in that case, yeah, it sounds like you guys kind of enjoy something a little more laid back like this. And we could talk about, like, we love to talk. These topics are really fun to discuss. I really enjoy something a little more interactive like this. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed a little bit something sideways from the general books. Oh yeah, but you know what? Bryn brings up a good, I was bibliomaniac. Bryn, I know you had said that you've written some books, Salem. Have you published anything? I think that's a great segue to maybe talk about your coffee, like some of the stuff that you've made and are working on. Anything that you want to shout out and mention on that?
Yeah. So I do have a coffee. I'm currently trying to save up to be able to move out of a really bad living situation. So I don't want to like I'm so bad at like shilling myself.
Don't worry, I got you. I'll
yes,
shill you.
I do have a coffee. There's not anything on the coffee specifically, but it's mostly for like I do calligraphy cards, I do writing, but I don't have anything specifically posted to my coffee. I have written several things under different pseudonyms. I have published the multiple things. So I have.
Would you like me to link your calligraphy blog?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right.
I have published, I'm trying to think, a handful of poetry I have published in magazines. I have a couple of books that I've ghost written, so a couple of novels that I've ghost written that got published. And then I have some short stories that have also been published. So, yeah, I have published some things. I don't make a living off of my writing. That is the dream. Genuinely, that is the dream.
And Salem will absolutely talk about the reality of if you want to be a published writer. There's the romanced ideal of what it is, and then there's like boots on the ground. This is kind of the reality of if you want to do this.
Yeah.
Like Salem is very kind of knowledgeable in that.
Thank you. Yes, but absolutely, I am more than happy to like talk about my own experiences with kind of in the trenches, grinding away to get like things published both traditionally and then also independently published. So, yeah. If I have something that's published under a name that like I'm comfortable sharing with y'all, I absolutely will throw that out. But yeah, so was it Queenie saying being a published author is 80% flying to conventions and beefing with other authors. From what I've been told, 20% is fighting with your publisher over book covers. It depends on whether or not you have an agent, whether you're going like indie or like fully trad. And yeah, from what I've heard from authors that are much more experienced and actually do make a living off of it, it depends on if you go indie or if you go trad. And if you go trad, there's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being a trad published author is luck, a prayer, and money and connections. Sometimes, yeah. And Mommy Salami likes sleep.
Yeah,
Salami does like Sleep Token.
Yep, and our dearest Quasar Cat also big Sleep Token fans. I like the music. I'm not as familiar, but we have reached kind of our end point here, and I think this might be a regular thing. I like this. I like this vibe.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys like this vibe too. It's an excellent opportunity to just kind of like take a sit back and just have a nice conversation, something interactive. This is probably a topic that we will pull up again. This is something that we do on the regular. So this is kind of what we're already doing, and we're happy to include you guys on this. So thank you guys for being here. Just because of the nature of, unless my mods recommend otherwise, we're probably not going to raid into anybody because I don't think I'll fundamentally find another stream that is the same as this one. I'll let Queenie, my senior mod, so to speak, recommend something differently if she recommends it. Unless it's Alice that's fronting tonight. I'll let them decide on what we are doing if we're going to raid into anybody, but I was gonna think nah. But I do want to thank you guys very much for being here. It's really wonderful to have conversations like these. I love having these kind of open, vulnerable conversations and talking about these kinds of topics.
Good
it's very
night,
important.
everyone.
It's very important to have these. So keep an eye out.
It's Alice tonight, nobody with the same vibe. But I do have a bunch of random friends on.
What's up?
Yeah. Do you want to set us up for a raid, Alice? I'll let you do the pick, and I think you should have the ability to do that. Please correct me if I'm wrong and give me a channel to raid into, and I got you if you can't do it yourself. But I'll have the VOD up for this. Again, all of my VODs go on to the Darth Suki VODs on YouTube. It's pretty much my regular channel name with VODs at the end.
We're not about to give her a panic attack.
Okay, yeah. Noted. Okay, noted, Alice. Double check on that. But
I do just want to say to Darth's fans, You guys are incredibly sweet. Like I joked earlier about being like, I'm watching you, but genuinely I do pop into the tag sometimes just to kind of go through and look and see what's all there. Because I'm really proud of my friend. But I do want to say thank you so much for all of the kindness that you guys have shown him. You all are incredibly sweet, and I've just loved to see the positivity and the uplifting culture that you guys have. So keep doing that. Keep pushing through with that. The world needs a lot of kindness, and you guys seem to be the people to start that. So definitely just keep throw more positivity out into IRL, not just online. But genuinely, I'm so grateful that you guys. I'm so grateful you're here, and I'm so grateful that
I
you
can't
have been
start raids,
supporting
but I can
my
give
best
you her
friend
handle.
so intently. So I appreciate you guys. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's all that I have. So keep an eye out. This definitely would be a reoccurring thing. We'll see what days that'll be on. It seems like Tuesdays might be it, since I know that's when we normally do. But we'll keep it out for you guys. Just keep an eye on my schedule. But it sounds like my mod Alice got us a channel, so we're gonna go on to the ending stream. But you guys have a lovely evening. Remember to drink water, eat your food, take your medications if you need any, and remember to be kind to yourself. Good night, everybody.
TTS pinged you with her
Good
name. We're gonna raid my
night.
bestie.